Rewire. Welcome to Rewire, the podcast where trailblazers in tech share their remarkable journeys to the top. Brought to you by GSMA, the hosts of Mobile World Congress. This series will invite leaders to share their moments of becoming and explore how we can close the gender gap. Rewire. I'm delighted to be joined by Tinuade Oguntuyi, General Manager of Technical Information at Connectivity Solutions Limited. We are here at MWC in Barcelona. Isn't it fabulous to be here?
Yeah, fabulous.
It sure is. Now, Tinuade, your CV is incredible. You are also an advocate for STEM education. You are an advisory board member at the WTEC Women's Technology Empowerment Center, which runs initiatives to empower women and girls. And you set this all up with your own foundation, the Tinuade Tech Foundation, that focuses on training and education for marginalized and minority groups in your home country of Nigeria. Yeah. Well done, you.
Thank you.
And welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Well, I love this. So when I was reading up about you, one of the things that really jumped out at me was a line that you said about having to deal with sitting comfortably in an uncomfortable field. Can you explain that more?
Yeah, thank you once again for having me. Imagine a scenario where you don't have people that look like you. And you really want to do what those that don't look like you do.
Yeah.
You don't have anybody showing you the ropes, but you want to do even more than what the contemporaries are doing.
Yeah.
We can't overemphasize that the tech domain is actually male dominated. But I'm grateful for myself because I'm really proud of myself that I'm amongst the many that decided that we can change the narrative. And you see a lot of bias. You know, we talk about unsaid biases that exist. Oh, maybe they don't think you can do this. Oh, you will soon go on maternity leave. You would not have the emotional strength to handle things. Oh, when it's really tough decisions, you won't be able to take those decisions and all that. But, you know, now you want to face this and say, whatever is coming, I'm going to tackle it head on too.
So I'm really interested. Where did that confidence come from?
Well, I wouldn't say it's an overnight thing. Yeah. It was actually born out of observation. So I noticed that when I joined the tech field, even as an intern, I see every other managers in the core technical or engineering being male. And the only woman that is also like a manager for the core guys or tech guys, which under the field services, was really still taking permission, as it were, from the male contemporaries. She doesn't look to me like somebody that was taking decision all by herself. Then I spotted, I'm like, no. Then an article jumped on me where I read why women don't stay up to 10 years in technical world. I'm like, oh no, that's not you. You are going to change this. By the way, I'd always wanted medicine. But why I changed to computer science is because of something that I saw that sparked that interest in me.
So you grew up in Nigeria.
Yeah,
You're from Nigeria. You still live there now.
Yes.
And so when you talk about being the only person that looks like you, you're talking about that from a gender perspective.
Yes, gender perspective.
And so if we can jump back a little bit more, so when you saw that woman was deferring all the time to her male colleagues, I'm fascinated. What was it within you that didn't do the same thing?
Okay, I think I'll give a lot of kudos to my late father. And of course, I'll come to my mom. But let me start from my late father. He didn't see us or deal with us like we are any different, the male, everything we have to do.
Did you have brothers as well?
Yeah, I had a brother, and of course, a sister came in later. But he didn't treat us any differently. If there's something challenging, you can do it.
Yeah.
And then he nicknamed me Tinuade. Like, you can do it. Just so if I'm doing something and we'll say Tinuade, come on, go get it done. And
so the Tinuade spirit stayed with you.
Exactly. And the B is actually Balogun because my maiden name is Tinuade Balogun. So he would call me Tinuade like a nickname. Then my mom on the other side, she's an auditor. She's also still a sports person. She plays table tennis, and she still sews. So I think I've grown up seeing people taking challenges differently. So I guess it just came to me. Of course, like I said, it didn't come overnight. It's something I had to now tell myself. Why won't I be able to do this?
I understand. So you're kind of at the apex of it all. How do you see your role in helping to shape what your country's going to become in terms of internet infrastructure?
I laughed when you said the apex because I still look at myself like I'm growing. You know, I have a number of industry leaders that I also really love and appreciate. But this is still part of the passion that, when you work in a space sometimes, it has a way of shaping your mindset. I've seen internet make people become better. I've seen internet make people blow, like we call it in Nigeria. Somebody's content just going viral and the whole story changes for good. And that's just because there is internet available, right? But amidst of this, there's this regulatory part of every tool or technology that we use, and you still want people to use the internet, yet they should still feel safe. It should be global. It should also be trusted and be open to all. But I haven't seen firsthand how internet can shape the lives of people, businesses. I know that it's something I really want to sit and. So I'll give a very good example, a quick one. Years ago, we had this downtime at one of our base stations, and there was this particular bank branch that was supposed to close for the day, but they need to do some postings. And the lady from the bank called, and she's like, anything you can do, just bring this link up for 5 minutes. Let me post this, and it will be a good day for everybody. And we're like, we're really sorry. We will not be able to do this because we have another issue from the feeding base station. And this lady was crying. I mean, so it got to me like, is this how sensitive what I'm doing is? You see people get to the bank and they can't probably withdraw the money because there is no connection, and somebody's child is in the hospital, needs to get a bill paid. And I'm like, is this how critical my work is? Then I have to really put in a lot of effort. I really have to do more. It's not going to be business as usual because I want to work and get paid. I want to really impact people's lives. We want everybody to be connected. We want the underserved, the unserved, the unreached to also get something. And that's why I'm really excited about what I do at ICSL. Because we do rural telephony projects where we go into very rural communities to install communication tools that they can use to make calls. It will excite you to know that there are still communities in Nigeria that they will need to hand over their ATM cards to people to travel miles to go and use it because they don't have anything they can do. While we preach, don't share your pains and all that, what do? They don't have a choice. It becomes something that I really have to also sit on, and that is why I push for this.
We take so much for granted, for those of us that live in the West where we sort of just expect this stuff to work. We just take so much for granted.
Honestly.
So you talked about helping the marginalized. Now, of course, a lot of your advocacy work has been around women and young people and underrepresented groups in Nigeria. And a lot of your work is also focused on STEM education. Because it's one thing, people being connected, which is obviously what you want for the public as a whole, but we want as many people from underrepresented groups going into these industries as career options. So what barriers do people still face in terms of STEM education, and what would you like to see change?
I think the first for me and top on the list is language barrier. It's easy now when, of course, I've been through a number of booths and somebody opens something, translate it to Spanish, to other languages, but I've not seen anyone maybe probably translating to Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa, and those are the languages at least that are top that we have in Nigeria. So sometimes you really want to talk to people. The computer systems, for instance, that you want to expose them to,
in English.
They are written in English, and so I also joined yet another community group on community of practice. It's a program brought together by Meta, and what we're supposed to do in trying to tell people about safe online is to also interpret most of these things in languages
In
they
the
can,
local
you know,
languages.
they can interact with and understand. Let me tell you how this works. If you've never been exposed to any digital tool before or a smartphone, once they get on this, they just go AWire, like we say, because they just want to see everything and they become really careless because nothing is. So you want to teach them that these are some of the things you see or that will let you know that you can't just click on any link. It can expose you. You want to say it in very relatable language and all of that. So language is one of the barrier. Then, of course, resources to fund all of this is also key, whether we like it or not. Laptops don't jump from heaven, neither do other devices. You need to procure most times to be able to teach some of this concept. So getting one of the things that I had vision for Tinuade Tech Foundation is actually also to support other people doing these things that I want. So as we grow, before now, that's what I do, trying to put my money where I'm talking about. So I sponsor programs to, oh, you want to do an advocacy program digitally. If I'm not speaking, I'm also contributing something. So now I really hope through this foundation that we're able to even source funds to also support, because the truth is this, when you want any growth, you have to replicate. So I can't do it all by myself. That's the second one. Then third one, maybe for now that I'll mention is we need to break that stereotype. Already, girls feel this is not for me. The hardcore is not for me. I'd rather play with a baby doll, plate the air, than maybe destroy a toy car and build it back. So you want to start reconditioning them to see, oh, you have a space here. And this is what I tell people when I go to gatherings and talking to young girls and women. See it like a big puzzle. Every piece counts. If you're one of that piece, you're also bringing
Part of
about
the
that big
whole,
picture.
yeah.
But when you don't even see yourself in it, you've done yourself a lot of disservice already. So jump on it, be that piece that will make the big picture come together.
So I have a little clip I want to play. I'd love
Okay.
to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, that's good.
There's a lot of evidence that men and women, taken as groups, have somewhat different propensities, aspirations. Women earn more PhDs than men in the humanities, social sciences, education, life sciences. But men prevail by large numbers in engineering, physics, computer science. Does sexual stereotyping or patriarchy explain these choices? Or could it just be that in the pursuit of happiness, men and women take slightly different paths?
What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think is also something that has to do with culture. If I'm picking it from Nigeria, for instance, you know, even till date, if you'll see some families that maybe they have two girls, one boy. The two girls, for all they care, can go and do all the dirty jobs, selling things, just to educate the boy.
Oh.
I mean, it still happens. Of course, maybe not as pronounced as it used to be, because there's this thing about, oh, the boy child is the heir to the family. I know when I say this, it's a little funny because I have three boys, right? But I know these things happen. So culture is something one way or the other that have formed some of these norms. Another thing is because this is the way it has been.
So what are you teaching your boys in that if they, you know, they have a mother that is in an industry where there aren't many people like her? Are you normalizing the idea of a woman in STEM to them?
Yeah.
So you just by virtue of what you do, they will see this very differently, presumably.
Yeah. In fact, I wrote on one of my posts on LinkedIn some years ago about when I got back from an event and I was given an award. And when I got in, my boy said, Taekwondo. I don't watch football a lot, but I was like, Taekwondo. They said, yeah, Ballon d'Or. You know, the footballers are Ballon d'Or. No, our mommy is Taekwondo.
Yeah.
And, you know, they will now tell me, mommy is always promoting women in STEM.
And I'm fascinated to hear your thoughts on that. Do you think that that is where the socialization kicks in, where girls are told that STEM isn't for them? And why did you stick with STEM at that pivotal stage?
Okay, so, you know, when we started, I mentioned that I'd always wanted medicine. And this is my journey into computing world. So I tried to write an exam right in Nigeria when you're out of high school. The first time I wanted medicine and my grades were not good enough. The second time, the same thing. And, I said I was going to talk about my mom. She doesn't like you to be idle. So once the first one didn't work, the second one didn't work. You're not going to stay at home. I'll go and enroll you in something. I have some friends, they told me University of Lagos is doing something on computing. You will go there 3 months by the time you write an extra. So I went, and the very first time ever in my life that I saw a desktop, like to touch it, not just seeing on TV. Basic designs like Corel Draw, Word, Microsoft Word, Word Art. I'm like, oh, I like this, I have to go for this. I really love this. Yeah. So, and that's how I moved into it.
Wow.
It didn't start from when I got out of school. While I was in school, we had a lot of students in computer science. But I looked at everybody like, oh, they came into computer science. Oh, maybe that's the supposedly in thing. But I just felt like I belong here. There's this feeling like I belong here. And
you'd found your
exactly.
calling. Yeah.
So being in the world of tech, being in computing world is something that over time just is building up. And I'm still going because I really still have a lot that I think I can do.
So I want us to go back to your family life a little bit more, if I may. So you've spoken about your father, obviously, and you've touched on your mother. I want to talk a bit more about her because she sounds amazing. So you grew up in a low-income family.
Yeah.
In what in Nigeria would be considered a slum. Is that what people would consider it as?
Yeah.
And so you've talked about your mother almost encouraging you to try something different. Yeah. So can we talk about her as your strength and your inspiration?
Yeah. My mother is an amazing person, honestly, and I give it to her.
She's still with us.
Yeah, she's still with us. Mm-hmm. She's an amazing person. I think she's this woman I've grown to know that she's just very independent. My dad was really present, but of course, if I even talk, nobody will know because I can count a lot of things. How to debate, it was my father. We'll watch junior debate and we ask us to repeat what they've said. We'll do it again. We have this program then we used to watch for Nigerian people that we know. Speak Out is like an advocacy community for young people. They talk on critical things happening or, prevailing issues. So it will encourage us to do that. But for my mom, this is a woman I saw growing up. She's an auditor with NIPOST. She was playing table tennis for NIPOST, and she would travel across the country to play just to earn more money. Then at some point, she learned how to sew. By the way, I learned how to sew when my exams were not coming through too. I learned dressmaking in Yaba Tech. So she will learn how she learned how to sew just to make more money for herself.
Yeah.
Then she used to sell what we call akube in Nigeria.
What is that?
That's second-hand used materials like shoes or clothes.
Oh,
so she has taste for fashion.
Got you, yeah.
She'll buy and she'll
we
still
would
sell.
call that vintage clothes.
Yeah,
Yes.
She'll or thrift.
Yeah.
She'll do that and sell even to colleagues and all that. There was really a rough time, I remember, when I was going to end my high school. There wasn't money to pay for my high school exam. And she started doing what we call, because I'm talking to a global audience, but I would say it so that everybody, making like a swallow without soup and just selling it. And there's this cassava flour that we call gari. Yeah. She will use it to make eba. Yeah. And she will sell just to make sure that money for my exam completes.
So she was really somebody who would do it all to make sure that
she doesn't want to take a no for an answer. She believes if I try harder, if I do maybe little effort, I can get on this. So I think I learned service majorly from my parents, but I'll pick the way I learned it from my mother. I told you she plays table tennis and all that. So she will get some bats. She will make a carpenter make a table tennis board, and we will engage in competition. Street 1, Street 2, Street 3. I told you it's more like a slum. Is houses that you live that 8 people share a bathroom and a toilet, and you don't have a gate to your road. In fact, it's a lane. And she will organize these small competitions. Then she, at some point, instituted that we do teaching ourselves. I was the assistant teacher then though, and she's just like the pioneer. So everybody that lived in my area, then you will probably not find anybody that doesn't know how to play table tennis.
So she taught the whole community
yes,
how
yes.
to play table
Yes.
tennis.
Yes, and
Wow.
we have lessons where people that are probably challenged academically, we all teach ourselves, correct it, and all that. So I picked service.
Do you think that growing up in a slum and having this sense of community is where your idea of wanting to give back on a sort of at a big level and at scale in terms of what you're doing now? Do you think that's where that came from? Because your mother was doing that for her community.
I believe so, because this is what you've seen. It's just natural for you to help anybody that is struggling. And this is how the concept was taught. You don't have so much, but you still give.
Yeah.
So you, regardless of what you have. So you don't want to sit down until I have X amount of dollars, X amount of naira. What you have, you share just to make the other person's life better at least. So I have 2 sacks of rice and some other people that I'll share so that everybody laugh at least.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So what other role models did you have then? So you had your mother, anybody else that you looked up to?
Yeah, I had my mother, even my late dad, right? Yeah, in his own role. He is the one that helps us to really do a lot of talking. We simulate holding microphones, even when we try to repeat some of the things we watch on TV. In the industry, I still, till tomorrow, respect the woman called Funke Okpeke. This is particularly somebody that's changed the narrative of internet penetration in Nigeria when she brought me one. And that's really amazing.
She
one
sounds amazing.
That's really an amazing one that she did. It takes audacity to really come as a woman and do that kind of. Everybody say, oh, maybe she has sponsors, and I don't care. You can stay and champion this. I think the credit, she really deserves it. And that's another person in the industry that I have a lot of people like my now MD is also, and that's one of the things, like I said, God has blessed me with people that are really supportive. My MD, of course, he's lived in the US for long. So back in Nigeria, he feels everybody should have a chance. When I was to be promoted as head of unit, a woman had not been the head of core before and all that. It's like, does Tinuade leave her? Does she, she puts every of her being into this. We go out, our customers are talking about her. So why won't we give her a chance? So is that kind of, so, in that area of trying to push, you can be better. I remember the very first award ever that I got in the industry was actually presented to him. They told him they were going to give him this award, and he said, no, Tinuade is the one doing the work. She should be the one you should celebrate with this. And he was supposed to keynote and said, let her talk. And I'm like, okay, do you have your speech so that we
real ally?
Yeah, he's an ally. I mean a master ally.
Yeah,
like
master
I said,
ally.
where is your speech so that I can read it out representing you? And they said, no. You go and deliver your own speech. I'm like, are you for real? I thought it was a joke, but eventually he just asked me, hope you have your speech ready for the event. I'm not even coming. I'm like, oh my God, you're not even coming. So he's really been a very great ally, and he had shown that in what we do in ICSL too, because a number of the managers, even before I became the GM, we have a lot of females that are leading teams and really doing stuff. So I think a number of people indirectly, because I learn a lot by observation. So people do different things, and I just, this person, that even some that my colleagues, even younger, they do really things. I'm like, okay, if this person can push for this,
then I can
try. You got it too.
Now, you've had a lot of first-hand experience growing up without a seat at the table. There's a wonderful quote by, do you know who Shirley Chisholm is? The first black female congresswoman.
Yes.
And actually the first black person to run for president in America.
I know that.
Yeah, incredible woman. And she's got a great quote which says, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring your own deck chair.
Yeah.
And you've brought your own deck chair to many tables throughout your life.
Should I tell you something?
Yeah.
When I joined tech and I told you about all the things I observed, I told you I didn't start with network engineering. I started with LAN support, and one of the things I do then is to pass cable. That's the Ethernet cable, we call them. Pass it. Maybe a computer is not working where you want to check if the connection. And they used to call me under the table engineer. And one day, I don't know where that came from, and I looked at the people that called me under the table engineer. I said, today I'm under the table. Tomorrow I'll sit and make decisions over the table. Honestly, I said that. So I think the universe has ears and listens to us, right?
So clearly you believe in affirmations.
Yes, yes, I do.
And constantly talking positively to yourself.
Yes, a lot.
And you've done that throughout your life, have
Yes,
you?
a lot.
When you sort of look at the work and you bring connectivity to communities that have been forgotten, overlooked, ignored, and are incredibly isolated, when you bring that connectivity to those communities, what changes?
A lot. So there was this very one, I remember very well. We stayed back at the office till about 6 p.m. because we were just waiting to get the first phone call from that community. And when the phone rang on my MD's phone, it was a call from a community in South that we just finished deploying the rural community, rural
That's a
telephoning.
rural community in Nigeria.
Yes,
Okay.
and guess what? The chief that made the call said, God bless, like I'm trying to mimic how he was speaking. God bless you people. You have brought joy to us. First phone call on our own soil. Wow. If you're an African, you know what that means.
Yeah.
It means this is where I'd lived. I don't know how old is he, but that's the first time since like 20 years thereabout the GSM came that is making his own first call on his own soil. That day I was really teary, and I'm like, oh, you did a thing.
Yeah.
I think that's why for me, connectivity is beyond just business. It's like something I know can turn people's life 360.
Changing humanity.
Around,
yeah.
different ways. They kidnap people. They can't even make phone calls to say, oh, we have an emergency. I mean, on different levels. There was a time I got to, we do ATMs, withdraw. And there was this time that they were supposed to start cashless society in Nigeria. And everybody was just in the panic to get money. And it was a Sunday. And I needed cash too. And I got to the ATM. And they were saying, no network. No network. And I'm like, God, I hope we're not the one providing service to this. Because I was looking at all the people on the queue. I was also part of the queue. But I was just... So at some point, I had to make that call to the support and say, so bank, so area, do we have this link on our network? And the person said, no. I'm like, okay, at least one down. I'm not the one holding everybody at hostage. Then the next thing, I met with the security person and say, okay, what exactly is happening? Why is it saying no network? Do you have your device closed? I can troubleshoot it for you. And they say, madam, please calm down. Calm down. I'm like, no. See, when it shows no network, it could actually be like a cable is out. Or, I just find myself troubleshooting with that security guy. And he's looking at me like, will you just calm down? Yeah. I don't even have the key to the equipment. But I mean, that's how much I've taken this in. I know what this can cost to people. I mean, it's a lot. So
and even and in hospitals and
hospitals, people want to, you say you can't withdraw this amount from the ATM. So you need to go to the bank, and the bank is saying no network because there is no connectivity. I mean, I can go on, and so it's more of like a part of me. And I used to tell my husband, for instance, I've not slept well. And he said, what's the matter? I said, because we have this downtime. And I can imagine we have about how many base stations affected right now. And I dreamt somebody told me the links are up and running. He said, go and check your phone, because this is not the first time you say this. And I'll check my phone. Nobody wrote to me. that the link is up and running. It was just in my dream.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking the
So
link
you
should be
are
up.
always
And
constantly thinking about
so,
it.
it's just saying that other part of the work I do.
It's your
So,
life's calling.
Yeah.
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 So I want to touch on diversity a bit. Obviously, you are in Nigeria, so diversity means a little different in the sense that you're as a country, because you are a majority ethnic group in terms of the makeup of the population. Race might not necessarily be the area that we look at it's much more class, gender,
Yeah.
disability, and the other forms of underrepresentation. So there's a study by Boston Consulting Group, and what the BCG study finds is that 45%, the diverse teams are 45% more likely to improve market share than companies that are not diverse. And they also have 19% higher innovation revenues. So for somewhere like Nigeria, when you have a team that has more women on it, more people from lower income backgrounds, and looking at ways to hire more people from the population with disabilities, are you seeing that those teams do better than the traditional elite male groups that we see at many of the businesses that we know globally from Nigeria?
Honestly, as you're saying that, I'm just trying to look at an analogy that I'll be able to use. Okay, when I was trying to say, when people get a chance to use digital tools for the first time, the tendency of really going, above, like maybe exploited, and they get exploited eventually. I think it's the same way, especially when it comes to class. Okay, so you have a child, let's say a girl child, that has been sponsored all through the parents, using all of their investment to send her to school. Now she graduates, she's just looking for something to do. Probably she's the first college graduate, and she's just looking at every other way she can change the story
For her family.
for her family. Then you get such person that, you have an opportunity here to serve. What is the natural thing that will be expected? She will do what I call the ABCD, above, beyond the call of duty. Because now it is not just work for her. This is destiny. This is a story that she has the pencil or pen to rewrite. She will give her everything to change that story. I've worked with a number of girls, young girls, based on what I do. So I don't want teams that, it's just male. Let's bring in ladies. And when I see the way they put in their effort, because I tell them, look at me. If I'm not doing anything to you, let my representation help you. At least let it recondition you. That Tinuade is here. She's still going somewhere. You can get here and even surpass it. So take that with you and run with it. And I've had amazing stories. I've had the girls that left, went to other companies, or people call me, we need young engineers, and I refer them, and they're telling me, these girls are doing well. The way we carry an embodied task and responsibility, and of course I know the men do amazingly, right? But it's an extra thing. We're able to multitask. We're able to think ahead. We're able to plan. A lot of things just jump on us naturally, because that young girl you're looking at being the one maybe trying to tidy the kitchen, trying to tidy the floor or the home, washing clothes, going to the market to run errands.
As well as her studies.
And she's still studying.
Yeah.
But the boy comes back, not even doing the dishes, and jumps to the book. So when even now, so sometimes I'll joke about it, and I tell my husband, I have these exams to write. And sometimes I just wish I'm not the one doing this, so that I have enough time to do this. And you're the one disturbing yourself. Just go, because it's supportive, you can just shoulder some of these things. But maybe not everybody is lucky enough to have. So I will come to the same office with my male contemporary, and they have maybe 18 hours to themselves, but I have maybe 6 hours to myself, and I'm expected to still deliver results, probably even more, because that's the one way, sure way that I know
You can
that I
prove
can
yourself.
actually prove myself and stay ahead.
So, with that in mind, how have you handled discrimination in the workplace and gender bias in the workplace?
I guess for me, the story is funny because I've not really seen people say to my face that, oh, you're a woman. And because God helping me, the result speaks for itself, right? I've not had somebody come to me
So you
and
haven't
like, oh,
experienced
Tino,
overt.
you know,
Yeah.
but I know this happens a lot. Even when people talk, I can catch that. And of course, the role we do is for things you really want to get change, you also have to be part of that change. And so if people say things, you know, bias, stereotype like and all that, your duty then and then is to correct it and say, what do you mean? Even as far as driving. When you drive in Lagos, oh my God. When you drive in Lagos, and most times when we're going, maybe closing from work or going to work, and my driver will say, it's a woman. I'm like, what's wrong with the woman? They are the ones that drive like that. I'm like, I don't get it. Every other time I see you struggle with some other male drivers. Why must it be when it's a woman, then it becomes a thing? When you have similar issues with those male drivers, you don't even make a comment. Maybe in their mind, oh, the woman cannot drive it. Or somebody like my sister was telling me that she was giving somebody a ride and the person made this comment and say, oh, you are driving like a man. And she looked at him, how does a man drive? He said, they drive really well. I said, excuse you?
Fantastic. So what do you say to those that believe that or don't believe that women should be in senior leadership positions?
I don't know what the issue is. And that's the truth because where women lead businesses and all that, I think we bring a lot of empathy too. And you can really relate with some of the things that happens with your fellow women and all that. Okay, so I had this lady on my team then, and it was during COVID. We're working completely remote, and I noticed her performance was dropping, and I reached out and like, what's happening here? And she's like, sorry, ma, this is the issue. I had issues with my house. I have issues with my back. I need to see the physiotherapist. And by the time she mentioned a lot of things, I'm like, okay, why don't you take some day off and just attend to this? He said, no, it's something that might take like 3 months for the physiotherapy. Then the house she's, of course, haunting. I'm like, don't worry. I'll mention it to the HR so that we can balance this. All you need to do is that double up for days that you miss. If you need to go these 2 days in a week, then you double up for another. And that was just it. But at the back of my mind, I have had cases, why did that not happen to me, where even the so-called, maybe the way men will look at it, menstrual cycle can really shut a woman down. Yeah. That you can't even function. You see, I mean, it's different things. You're able to really go into people's shoes easily, and even if it's relating with your male contemporaries.
I get it. So you as a leader, you're able to see things differently, and the way you dealt with her was very different than perhaps one of your male colleagues may
she felt
have.
comfortable to also mention, and that does not mean the male on my team can't tell me things. So I don't see there is any reason. Women leaders do really greatly. Maybe some have concerns, especially from Africa, that, when women become leaders, they become bossy. It looks like they are intolerant. They don't want to really get things through like they normally would do if they do not have that position. But I think it's a personal thing. Okay. Yeah.
So I have one last question before you leave. It's been so lovely talking to you.
Yeah,
honestly.
same here.
I so enjoyed this conversation. So tell me why you think a career in STEM, considering everything from the future, is really going to come from this industry that's going to sort of influence every area of our lives. Why do you think it's a good career opportunity for anybody, regardless of their background?
Whether we like it or not, right now, STEM is ruling the way we do everything. I tell people you can be an accountant, but you can still develop applications that will help people to bank well. Even we that we are naturally in connectivity business and telecoms, one of the things I'll be talking about tomorrow at the Congress is how technology is actually transforming telecoms and viewing it from the lens of diversity too. Whether we like it or not, it's not a nice to have. It's almost like a must have for you to compete, because if you're trying to talk about a future, then you need to do everything to empower yourself to feature in that future you're talking about. Else, when they bring out the pictures, you don't even show it. So I think everybody needs to, not even with AI, you really have to jump on it. It is a lot of good it will do. And of course, not jumping on it for maybe negative reasons. Let's get it straight. There's tech for good. I think it's just the right thing to do. And I know I would joke about this sometimes that, if I knew, I would have actually studied mathematics instead of computer science. Because whether we like it or not, it just in almost everything, or maybe physics. Because you can transpose this thing so easily into anything. Yeah, so while we all might not be able to learn STEM, you want to push yourself to do this, I think it's a good way to go.
Brilliant. And so what's your tip for helping us all rewire our futures?
Don't tell yourself you can't do it. Once you can tell yourself, I remember when I was doing one witty program, Women Innovation and Tech, something with a group of people, and I said, I always tell myself I can do it. Not until then, I will keep second guessing myself. I will still I will talk myself out of it because I just don't see myself there. But when I say I can do it, then every other thing that I need start falling in place. Is it the right people to meet? Is it the right thing to say? Is it the right thing to do? So even when the odds are all up against me, because I've told myself I can do it, instead of looking at the problems, I'm just looking at how do I get out of this to still go back on track. Do I need to pause? I will pause. Do I need to... When I was pregnant, when I was in the hospital doing a cesarean session, I can't definitely think about anybody doing networks. But even when I have that break, when I come back, what do I want to do? How do I catch up on what I've missed? So you can't do spirit is a lot that, and just like you were saying, I believe so much in affirmation because I'm a Christian. So I think that comes naturally to me too. So I have every other time positive self-talks. Oh, Tinuade, you can do it. Tinuade, don't worry. Your color is not going to determine what comes to you. Because, I'm very tall.
Yeah.
My height. I'm really tall. If you get what I mean. So you walk into rooms sometimes.
Wow.
And,
you are really on it with the affirmations.
you walk into rooms sometimes. And it doesn't even have to be the male contemporaries. It might even be ladies like
you. So anyone who's listening as opposed to watching our wonderful conversation, Tinuade is tiny. So she's not. So this is how powerful these affirmations are.
Oh my God. Honestly, so you tell yourself, move with people that are doing things you're doing, but don't let that still deter you if you don't see people doing what you want to do. Just, see it, connect, and definitely things will just work out. It might not be easy. Honestly, I'm not promising anybody to be easy. But if you have your heart, your mind at it, you definitely tell the mountains to come down.
Brilliant. Well, It has been such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time speaking with you. And congratulations on everything that you're doing and the way you are championing change in your country. Thank you so much, Tinuade.
Rewire.
We hope you enjoyed the conversation. Now, don't forget to subscribe to Rewire so you never miss an episode. And please visit gsma.com for more research, thought leadership, and insights on inclusive leadership.
Rewire.